Any additional public comment at this time?
Please see your form, sorry.
It's okay.
So my name is Andrew Sandoval. I was reviewing you guys the charter, just, I didn't see in the charter, and I didn't find the MOU online, where it actually said that MCOE is in charge of the finances. And, so, you know, let's say you guys operate under a nonprofit benefit corporation. So I was just, you know, I'm a big world guy, so if I don't see it on paper, I'm a little concerned. So then I requested you guys the MOU. But my recommendation is to actually reach out to the MCOE board members, because they're the ones who are going to make the ultimate decision. And they're voted and elected officials, so my recommendation maybe send out a message to your parents, actually reach out to their elected official prior to the board meeting. And I emailed you guys a little earlier. And to initiate the dispute resolution process. I know it's you guys are in like a weird situation with your relationship with them, but you know, I hope you guys have really good legal counsel, because it seems a little shady. And just as another comment, just based on your timeline and MCOE's decision or start of this Millennium Academy, I have to but ask if there's other motivations or other reasons why they're not willing or haven't shown the willingness to work with Millennium Charter Schools to find a solution, which is really what they're supposed to do, is look at the best interests of the kids and try to find a solution.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
Yeah, I have one. Looks like the average daily attendance is driving this thing. And 150 students were projected to enroll, 130 enrolled. At $9,000 per student, that's $18,000. Where did the county come up with $517,000 in arrears to the school? That is shady. And you guys have representation? And I understand that the forensic accountants that investigated this were picked by MCOE? Enough said. That's corruption. Something's going on at MCOE. I don't know what, but this school of 130 students did not fall $500,000 in debt in a few months.
That's all we need to go.
That's all I gotta say. Something's wrong.
Any other public comment? Seeing none, we'll move on to item B. Superintendent's report, item B1. Ms. Burns?
Enrollment is now at 139 students. Basically, our average daily attendance continues for the past 3 months at 94.35%, which is 124.45 students. The highest month was October at 96.6%, which is 129.2 students. And there are 5 new students enrollment for the second semester in January. Professional development, December 5th, 2018, staff review heterogeneous groupings of students to enrich classroom environments. Parent-student communications, there's no new information to report out at this time. Old and new business. Millennium students participated in the safety symposium that was held on December 6th and 7th, and Millennium received state recognition from the Assembly, Senate, and Congress for promoting safe schools. Here's our certificates here. If you guys would like to look at them at the end of the board meeting or now, pass them around.
Question for clarification.
Yes, sir.
The 5 additional students is over and above the 139 students that are currently enrolled?
Yes.
So we're really talking about the possibility of 144 students, am I correct?
Yes, in January.
Appreciate that.
And those are the 5 students that returned packets. So that's why it only said 5 students and not included the other 3 students who showed interest.
Any questions for Ms. Burns? Bennett?
I just would like to congratulate you. It's awesome on the safety recognition. I think that's well deserved for our school, and congratulations.
Thank you. Our students did a wonderful job.
Ms. McCaffrey?
levels have become uneven and unbalanced. And so we talked about the anchor students. So not necessarily students who are straight A's, but students who are hard workers and having anchor students and starting there with the anchor students and then building from there with like students who are at risk or struggling and then students who are performing above. So that way, when teachers are teaching, it's kind of a leveled out groupings that they can strategize and accommodate in the classrooms.
Any additional questions? Mr. O'Farrell, there?
I'm embarrassed, 20 times, that's $180,000. But that's still a lot shy of $517,000.
And just to clarify, the projected revenue would be on the average daily attendance of that total enrollment, which does drop a little too. As Ms. Burns was saying, are currently 94% of that number. Thank you. Any public comment on this item, Mr. Burns' report specifically? Okay, seeing none, we will move on to item number 2, staff report. I know Mr. Robbins is not here, and we do have Ms. Milchek available. Is there anything you'd like to say from the staff? Board position?
Yes, Robin couldn't make it. He is reading finals, quite frankly, because we close this year. But on behalf of the staff, thank you very much for all your hard work that you put into this semester. We really appreciate your presence here on campus, the support you've given to us through Ms. Burns, and the support you've provided to us directly. I am the special education coordinator, and I am moving back to the beginning of the school year when we provided some fabulous professional development. And as I look at the growth of our teachers and the quality of teaching that I've seen as I've observed, as I work with our students and see the fruits of the teachers' hard work represented in students. And as I look at the data, the benchmark, and I can see some progress over the course of the semester. And I know that's directly related to support the boards given to Ms. Burns and the support that you provided directly to us. And so I really appreciate and thank you for all your hard work. And I heard from staff members that they also recognize everything that each one of you here today is doing for our encouragement.
On behalf of the board, thank you to the staff and what they're doing. We appreciate Mr. Robbins' great advice. Moving on to item number 3, Treasurer and Finance Working Group reports. Ms. Rosenbrenner.
So here are the warrants for the 2 weeks between our regular meetings. They are as expected. The biggest expense as usual being our lease.
It's just the one page.
Didn't want to combine the finance with the report at this time. This meeting, so I'll just do the treasurer report and the finance. So the other things.
You can do both now. So you can do it first.
So the other things to note as part of the credit report, we do have some accounts receivable of our regular LCFF funding and our SB 740, the remainder of our SB 740 grant from past school year. That last chunk of money should be coming soon. Jennifer has been in nearly constant communication with the state to find out what is happening with that. We should have received it by now. It should have been in our bank account by now. She was told just this week that there was a delay and that that will be mailed out this week, by the end of this week. And it will be mailed to the county PO box, not to this address.
So we do know whether it's the figure that we've been alerted that it would be?
So So that's what Jennifer calls the true-up amount, and yes, that will be the amount that we're expecting for last school year. And then the SB 740, the facilities grant for this coming school year, she has been told via email that that they are sending out the announcements of awards this month, and we should be getting that in April as well.
So that being said, that would be revenue that hasn't been accounted for yet.
That is not right. As far as last year's
Right.
revenue has been accounted for in our accounts receivable portion of our statements. My understanding is that the coming year, the current year SB 740 has not been applied to our accounts receivable because we have not yet heard what the amount is going to be. So we don't have a figure of it. But we estimate, the estimated amount is about $120,000. Accounts payable, I was working with Jennifer today to try and get an accounts payable report. She's been ill, and so we're trying to work from home to get that for us, and we're going to get it for us. So unfortunately, I don't have accounts payable for us.
Any questions from the board regarding the treasury report? Mr. Newman?
No, at this time.
Questions? Any public comment on the financial report, the treasury report?
What happens when staff and teachers aren't getting paid?
Yeah, that's not really part of the treasury report. Can't comment on that. But we could address it in the finance working group report, which I'll go ahead and start. And for those of you here for the parent meeting, we met with, this is the group that meets with the subcommittee of the board from Monterey County Office of Ed. On Friday of last week, they invited us to a meeting that day, that afternoon. We met with them to hear the forensic audit report. It should be clear, we at no time asked for that audit. In fact, in November when they announced they were doing the audit, I was asked multiple times by the board and Dr. Kotowski herself if that would appease us. I said no, because again, that audit is based on the very books we were calling into question. Though they do show what they predicted they would show from the county, our biggest concern is that we still haven't had a chance to analyze. And I used the word at the time in that meeting, somebody with our advocacy in mind. And I think they took offense to that, because I know the staff there work very hard at MCOE. They have a lot of responsibilities, we're one of many. But, in the role of as our oversight authorizer, the conflict of interest exists. There's no way to get around it. There just isn't. And what we wanted, and we wanted was someone managing our finances that had us and only our interest in mind, nothing else. And we thought that would give a different perspective to the books. And certainly, we just were never able to get to that point because things were evolving so quickly. The errors were a part of that, escalating that request. And so we got the forensic audit report, and we were looking at each other. And for us, that didn't seem to change anything, because it was exactly what we had heard, roughly what we had heard the November prior. When they asked us to surrender, we said we would not, because we did not have faith in the accounting of the books. Now, that being said, we were prepared to continue to try to work with them to figure out a different resolution. But at that same meeting, we were then told, now that we know this, MCOE knowing this, that they would not pay our teachers beyond the salary. They would stop paying. We didn't believe that was something they would do, and thought we were protected from that happening. And that's not the case necessarily. There is legal standing according to our attorneys that show that as our vendor, they're subject to the same they're subject to the same law that would force us as a nonprofit to pay our teachers if they're working for us. You can just stop paying your teachers. If they work, you got to pay. There's law that protects them. And so that falls on us as the nonprofit corporation. But the way it's explained to us that by proxy as our vendor, which in this case MCOE is our vendor and our authorizer and a bunch of other things. But as our vendor, they must abide by the same law. Now, they could argue that 9 ways to Sunday. They have way more lawyers than we will ever have, and way more money to defend them. And they probably would just say, no, we're not going to do that. So it's not something we had yet done. We didn't know this was happening really up until Friday. That's when we got this information. So we immediately, the finance working group met again on Saturday morning, began to strategize what we might be able to do, consulted our attorneys again. We met again, gosh, we've had so many meetings, it feels like. How many overtime on Georgia? We can do one Monday. We do it again. We called a special board meeting. Thank you, lost my train of thought. We called a special board meeting, convened our board Monday night, and met and really began to strategize how can we possibly respond to this issue. And we came up with some ideas, some of which we presented at the board meeting on Wednesday. Those ideas fell on deaf ears largely. I think, again, and we said this in the board meeting, it's difficult to get away from the feeling that there's been an end goal in mind going back a couple of months with the emergence of the idea of a Millennium Academy. We kind of hadn't really been able to talk about other options. And the term I remember so clearly hearing from the leadership at MCOE and their board, we want to do what's in the best interest of the kids. And it just seems to me, and to this board, and the reason we feel we have a case is if they're willing to spend the money on a whole new academy, that it actually would benefit the kids at this point in time, certainly, that money be spent on the loan, of which they would most likely recoup most of it by the end of the year. But that's not where we're at, and that's certainly not what they're offering. Now that is going to be part of board discussion at the special board meeting, along with the vote on beginning foreclosure proceedings, revocation. We didn't buy a house from them. So that's where we're at in terms of our report. This board, again, has some items to discuss related to this facility in our closed session as well, because this is we're on lease here, and so this creates another issue for us. If for some reason we're not able to continue operating as MCOE has requested of us. So, anything you'd like to add, members on the report?
Really, that gentleman can definitely ask the question.
Yeah, do you have anything to add to the report?
Oh.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I mean, it was covered earlier, I believe.
Could you remind me of your question, sir, and then I'll go to you. Had asked a question earlier.
It was about what happens when the staff isn't getting paid. That one?
So yes, so we would not expect our staff to work knowing that we couldn't pay. That's not something we would not do that responsibly.
At the school I work for, our teachers sign a 10-month contract. How are they able, I'm assuming the same thing happens here, how are they able to breach that contract that the teachers have all signed?
Yeah.
Well, in certain circumstances, and because this is, they're called at-will positions, and it's outlined in our handbook, we can release teachers. We're not firing anybody. We can release teachers for certain reasons.
But you guys or MCOE?
It would be,
That would be us.
So if you're not releasing them, how can they stop paying them?
Well, that's two questions. The first one is if we don't release them, that's our authority. The authority to not pay lies with the Monterey County Office of Education. That's their statement.
According to MCOE, that's the ability to not pay lights. And do the lawyers say that's legal?
Well, that's another question
Okay.
that's being posed.
Okay.
again, according to the lawyers, by extension, they should be obligated to that same rule, but again, it's something they can argue and drag out if they chose. But simply put, by extension, they should be subject to the same obligation because they're our vendor. Yes.
We're going into Christmas. Are they going to give our teachers severance pay so that they can at least enjoy their holidays, or do they just, are they,
They're under no legal requirement.
so their hearts are hardened and they just don't care?
Sorry.
I said their hearts are hardened and they just don't care?
That's a question you might probably want to ask them.
They are getting their final paycheck at the end of this month. They're already paid for what they work in December.
If they're not even, and it just feels that they're not considering the human factor in this whole situation. Our kids are human beings. Our staff are human beings. Our board are human beings. The parents are human beings. All they're looking at is the numbers. And a lot of our children that come to this school are at risk. Some of them, this could be a life or death situation for them because in the traditional schools, they have been bullied. And what's going to happen if one of our children decide they can't do it anymore? Do we have the right as a parent to sue MCOE? Or do they even care? Where's the heart?
You know, we have,
We could talk about this, and I'm sorry, but I have a child that I love, and she has had a heart in the traditional schools, and they don't care.
I want to let you know that through our subcommittee meetings, we have expressed that point. Just so that you're aware.
But that doesn't help. The expression doesn't help if it's lying on deaf ears and hard hearts. They just do not care. And how is that acceptable? And how is it okay for them to have an agenda and be able to go forward with their agenda and not consider, they say they have our students' best interests at heart, but they don't even have a heart. How do they care?
I want you to know that we are hearing what you're saying and we are feeling along with you, and we hope that that you'll find a way to express that to the MCOE
I
board.
stood in front of them yesterday, they half of them didn't even look at me. They acted like if I was just invisible. So, I mean, I even impress on people who just do not care. They just do not care. I mean, I have hope, and I trust, and I believe that God has put us out here for a purpose. And I believe that He has His hand on this. But what happens if a student just hurts themselves due to the choice that this organization is making? What is that going to do to the community? And how is that going to be in any student's best interest? And are they going to, if the kids don't go to which my daughter will not be going to the academy, but what about the ones that are taking it hard? Are they going to offer counseling to them, or are they erasing them like they don't exist? It's a very challenging situation. Today I came in and did yard duty, and they were hugging each other like if it was the last time that they're ever going to see each other. They're taking it very hard. And they haven't even spent any time with our kids. This place has been a godsend for us. She loves coming here. And she has friends. She's never really had friends before. And she has friends here. How can they just take that? And how is it acceptable? It shouldn't be allowed. There has to be some kind of legal stand that we can take. What do I do with my daughter in January? Do I bring her to school? Or do I just, I mean, I feel like if I'm up against the wall, and I feel like MCO is just dangling a carrot right in front of us to see how far we're going to follow them.
We don't have the answer to many of your questions, and we feel your pain. It's why we've been fighting as hard as we have. I wish I had more to tell you and more certainty around what the next step is. We just don't have it. It's clear where MCOE wants it to go, and it's clear where we want to go, and we're not quite the same places. We're certainly at the past, but it'll be coming to a head very soon at that meeting, special meeting we've called next Wednesday.
I think we can assure you too that when we do have answers and we have concrete information we can share with all of our school community, that we will be looking at. Even though it's during break.
Comment in the back.
Yes, I apologize, I got here late. But I wanted to know if there's any of the MCOE people here to represent them to, help you guys answer these questions, these heartfelt questions, or are they just kind of expecting you guys to give us bad news and just to simply deal with it and expect you guys to be the ones, not to get bashed, but to get, the crappy end of the stick, basically. And if they're not here, I'm sorry, when would be a good chance for us to, have the parents and the students meet with not only you, the board, but also with them? I wasn't here for whatever meeting Maxine was talking about, so I apologize. And I don't know if there's another opportunity.
There are representatives here, but it's not their role in this meeting to take answers and questions now. However, there is a special meeting they have called for next Wednesday at 9 a.m. where they will take up the issue of a potential loan or revocation. And at that time, the board there will be voting on both of those items. Lisa?
I just want to represent from the staff and how we've responded to support students. I'm so proud of the people I work with every day, because the first concern I heard expressed, we found out about this at 7:15. Some of us have been here for almost 12 hours. And the first concern I heard expressed at that emergency faculty meeting was, what should we tell the students? How do we support them? And the first period of the day, during advisory, first period, some teachers did it all day throughout every period. They addressed the issue head on. They helped students find where they can have a voice in all of this. Next Wednesday, they helped students kind of sort through the information at every level. Every teacher did it, and then even during some speech therapy that she was talking about, and helping the students put words to their feelings. There's an assembly tomorrow morning for the students. The school counselor who's been here since the beginning of the school year supporting students, she will be there. She's meeting with a lot of the students throughout the day to help them with their anxiety, to help them with their depression, their fears, their concerns. Part of the challenge is that it doesn't give us time really to plan and support the students and help them see through the end of this, the timeline, and that's nobody's fault sitting here or myself, it's just the way things are. And so we are responding as quickly and as appropriately as we can with the little time that we have. We're also at finals, right? So as my role is to support students with different learning styles and how they take their tests. And I've been doing that all day and saying, yes, I hear what you're saying, you're scared. This test counts because you still need your credits for this class, no matter where those credits go at the end of the semester. So yes, what you're feeling is real and it's important, and we're going to talk about that as soon as we get through this test. So that's how we've been responding, and I know I'm not the only person responding to their concerns, their fears in this way. But we are helping them understand where their voice is, how they can respond, how they can take initiative. Part of teenage development is finding who am I in the world? How do I want to be in this space, and where is my voice, and how is my voice heard, and how do I express it? Through art, they've been expressing it. Also, we're certainly telling them about Wednesday and that they can go and express themselves that way. We're doing what we can to support students over the next couple of weeks, and we certainly hope that all of the students show up tomorrow so we can continue to support them. They can continue to take their finals and turn in their work at the end of the semester and get those credits and a great grade. Just recognize all of the hard work that they've been doing this semester. And I'm happy to answer any questions privately about how we're supporting everyone and respect the board's time.
Is NCOE considering how the students are flourishing here? My daughter used to get B's, she used to have a D in her math, and now she got at A's and B's. Are they even considering how they're flourishing here, how the staff, Melissa has just, and you guys have been so supportive towards them. Their grades represent what the school stands for. Does that matter to them? Or I know you guys don't have the answer, but we do have a couple here.
It's not their role to answer those questions right now.
Wednesday at 9, where at?
MCO, the Monterey County Office of Education.
Blanco? Blanco Circle, guys. Wednesday at 9.
We appreciate you, and you guys have done everything.
Email if you can't make it.
And on your shoulders.
We support you. That's what all my friends said.
You support them.
And before I walk out, I do got some representatives, MCOE, you know, they are starting a new academy. Where is the funding coming from?
Yeah.
It sounds like to me, we got creative bookkeeping that's putting us in the red, but it's putting them in the black, and they haven't even started yet. And I will be at the meeting on Wednesday, and I will voice that.
Additional comments, please? Go back to questions from the board. We'll start with,
I was just wondering about the forensic audit report. Was that full report given, or was it just?
No, it was a summary, and I did just ask Mr. Watson about that. I sent an email to him about that. Christy White was directed by NCOE just to get them the summary as soon as possible, and so Christy White is now working on the full report, and we don't have an estimate of when that will be.
So no one has received the full report yet?
To my knowledge, no.
any questions? Go ahead. Who's that asking?
I don't know so much question, I think Amy asked the question that I was going to ask, but I just want to say, as a chance to say, I want to thank all the parents in the community and the students for being here today. It's really important that you do come and see what's going on. And I also want to thank the rest of the board, as being the newest board member here, seeing these people working with work tirelessly for this school every day. They've been doing it for the past couple of years now. I want to commend them on their hard work, because every day, you know, as volunteer board members, they come in and they work for you and your students tirelessly. And I just want to say that, you know, thank you to the community, and thank you to the rest of my board members. You've done a great job.
I'll just send the report, so you know the group's continuing to work to try to present the best possible case at that next board meeting, hoping to sway votes, as well as working with our attorneys on other fronts to see if we can get movement there as well.
Are we reporting at that meeting? Are we on the agenda, or are we?
You know, it's difficult to know, because we've been listed as a presentation before, much like we did in the last, like it was listed in the last agenda, although we were not given time to present and make public comment. So we'll be reaching out to clarify that, and if we need to do it to public comment, we'll do that as well. But I'm unsure. Michelle, is that something
What I would recommend is sending Zane an email requesting that so I can forward it to leadership so that they can give me an answer, because I wouldn't be able to answer that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to, make sure that it's clear that we have been working with, the accountant who does our audits, who has done our audits in the past, who is doing our audit now, and he, has been reviewing, the summary of the forensic audit as well as our, his records of our books. He has some questions about what the finance group will be looking into. We just received an email back and haven't had a chance to review that yet. So, the rest that we are continuing to discuss with outside experts.
Thank you. Just closes out that item for us. We'll move on to item F, consent agenda items. I believe this might be an error. I believe we presented with minutes for item number 2, December 10th. Do we have those? Do we have those in the form? So I'll move to scratch these items from the agenda since they're not present. Do we have a second? Second. Any discussion on that? All those in favor? I'm sorry, you have discussion, Ms. Rosemary?
I do.
Okay. Are you okay with moving on with the vote? Okay. All those in favor? Any opposed? Okay, there are no items for the consent agenda. Move on to working group reports. We'll start with PTO, Mr. Munoz. Oh, I apologize.
That's why I was confused.
I threw you off. I'm sorry, I had it covered up. Excuse me. Parliamentary, you normally call me on that, like right away. I have to rewind the board meeting. Thank you. Back to item number 4. Ms. Stanley, did not mean to skip over you. 2018-19 first interim financial report.
Yes, and what I have to report to you is that Melissa and Jennifer and I met on the 6th, and we are working to put together numbers for the first interim report. Jennifer's illness right now, and we're not able to complete the numbers, and so we will bring that back to you for the future report.
Okay. Let the record show you. Don't have a report just yet, but it's coming. Is there any?
Another meeting?
Second. Any questions from Ms. Stanley on her brief comments? Mr. Nunez?
Actually, it was kind of hard to hear everything that she said from
The statement was that the report is not available. They've been working with Mrs. Ibarra, who's not been available because of her illness, so they weren't able to prepare the report for today's meeting.
I think there's nothing on the side of NCOE that they can report on it, or everything's based on Mrs. Marlowe's part of it. So there's nothing that your side can report without Mrs. Ibarra's portion of it?
No, because I made sure to provide you with the detailed information, for instance, in the 3,000 objects, which is the benefits. I need her to give me that information, as I do not have that information, as well as in objects 5,000, which is the operating expenditure. She had some changes that she wanted to make that she was not able to provide me at this point.
Is that it?
No, I was going to ask the same question as Albert. I just find it, I don't know, difficult that we can't have that financial report without Ms. Ibarra. I know she's been sick, a day or two? So isn't that report produced like at least a week or two in advance?
Right, which is why we met on the 6th, and we talked, as Melissa knows, when we were sitting here together, that we needed additional information that Jennifer was going to give to me so that I could put it into the science report. I did not receive that information. And I'm not going to bring it up.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Any public comment on that item? Seeing none, we move back forward to our PTO report. Mr. Nunez.
Okay, the PTO had a meeting this week, and some of the quick highlights were Mr. Garcia had an ASB report there. So there's a plan for a winter formal, hopefully on January 26th. More items will come out. They're currently in Spirit Week, which is going well, along with a movie night that's going to be scheduled for this Friday for the students. Also, they're hoping to do some type of pool party in March or April. So, HB has a lot of good things going on. Hopefully, they're able to fulfill what they want to have plans for the students and for the school. Mr. Garcia also reported that there was he had plans for a field trip for the Monterey Bay Aquarium for the students on February 20th. So hopefully they'll be able to do that as well. The only other things they had was the poinsettias fundraiser that the PTO had. It went very well, very successful. They sold out. Actually, the night of our last meeting was the last final sale, so that was a good one. Pizza Factory fundraiser, if you remember, a few months back, they did a small fundraiser where we got a portion back of that. So that went pretty well with us. We getting a check for the PTO at $200, so which is good. That can go towards the study fees for students. One thing that was suggested towards the end is that the PTO wants to buy a pizza lunch for the entire school for tomorrow. So that's going to be happening as well. So those are a lot of positive things that are happening. There was one concern that a parent did bring up. And as always, we're high school, right? We're high school, so there's going to be some good and bad. So there's a couple of instances right now, and I discussed with Melissa briefly that some of the students are feeling unsafe when they're upstairs, especially during the lunch. I guess using the microwave. There may be some issues of, using the term bullying is kind of harsh, but they're feeling that they can't be up there safe. I guess we need some extra supervision up there or something that could be done. Just like anything, there were some missing lunches. The parent also brought up the fact that the smoking in the bathroom, which is kind of have, but it's beyond that. Those are the real issues. This is my opinion that us as a school should be handled, because every school has those type of issues. Not running around and trying to figure out where the heck our finances are at. Because of that, I think there's been a lack of some of the supervision that has to have gone on. So, with that, I just want to end. I still think we're doing a great job. Melissa, you're doing a good job. And if you need any help with any of that other stuff, please reach out.
Thank you, Mr. Nunez. Any questions for Mr. Nunez with that? No, Mr. Kevin. Mr. Cunningham.
Just clarification. Should the final decision be made to not pay our staff in January, I'm hoping and assuming that the winter ball will still take place.
We're hoping, yeah.
That's really important.
Yeah, they would need to. I feel that they're owed that.
I totally agree.
I would certainly be happy to chaperone or help in any way with that.
What date is the winter ball again?
It is scheduled for, they're having it, right now it's scheduled for the 26th of January.
Question. Any public comment pertaining to the PTO report? Seeing none at this time, we'll go ahead and move on. At this, we have no further working group reports. The other working groups have not been meeting. We already shared out the finance working group as part of the treasurer report. At this time, we'll be moving to a closed session. If you'd like to stick around, you're welcome to outside. At this time, we will be in closed session. And again, on behalf of our executive